So you want to know what the hottest sports cards were last week? Well, you came to the right place. Welcome to Sports Cards Pro. I'm Coach Co. We are going to be diving into this week's hottest sports cards by category using the Sports Cards Pro app and our data filtering tools. So first thing we're going to do is jump onto our Sports Cards Pro app. We are going to go into tools. Now, before we go into this, I want to mention that this is a premium feature that you get access to just for subscribing to this YouTube channel. All right. So you better hit that notification bell because we do a weekly scan of the hottest sports cards in the sports card market based on sales volume data, my friends. So we're jumping into it. We got basketball in front of us as per usual. Actually, I think it was last week we had Kobe Bryant tops the list, but Michael Jordan always dominates these lists. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Jordan cards in the top. What is this? 8? Pretty crazy, actually. We're going to jump into one we have not featured yet, and that is the 1990 Skybox. It's actually a very nice card. These cards from the 90s and early 80s, there are tons of them. And part of the reason why the volume is high on these is because, like I said previously, there are just so many of them. I feel like a lot of people are getting back into collecting, perhaps pulling their old stuff out from the closet, the storage space, their mother's house, rifling through some stuff and trying to establish, is there a market for these? Are they worth something? Because back in the day, I mean, people were essentially told that they were going to, but not that they were going to print as many. Quick tidbit about the junk wax era there. So as I said previously, this card is gorgeous. Ungraded copies are going for about $2. At peak, these were a $10 card back in 2020. PSA 10 copies will run you about $167. BGS 9s or 9.5s rather are about $90. I mean, so theoretically, if you got one in really good shape, you could grade and be profitable here. But you know that generally speaking, if the grade, I mean, I like to assume that it's going to be a 9 or less. And when it comes to 90s cards and earlier, I mean, assuming it's a 9 is tough because that's like 30 years that you had to preserve condition and you needed ideal circumstances for that. So generally speaking, I don't think this card would be a grade. This is probably more of a buy, in my opinion. Next category, we've got baseball. We've got Ken Griffey. 3 of them, of the top 4 cards sold last week, are Ken Griffey. And if we look down even further, we got Ken Griffey again, which is crazy. So we've got 4 Ken Griffies in the top 8 or 9. People love Ken Griffey. I think it might have something to do with the fact that Julio Rodriguez is an absolute monster over there in Seattle. And so there's a lot of comparisons being drawn to Griffey, and you've got people coming out of the woodwork and either rebuying or selling Griffey cards, whatever the case may be. But the volume on these, 88, 82, it's pretty solid. 71, the star rookie dominating with 142, as I mentioned previously, the junk wax era. So we're going to go into his number 33 card from Donruss. This is one I see a lot of. The ungraded copies are going for just over $3. PSA 9s or BGS 9s at any grade in a 9 is about $30. If you manage to get a 9.5 or a 10, that's where, I mean, you're truly profitable. But like I said previously, grading these cards that have been in storage for so long is just not probably going to be a win for you. So unless it's for nostalgia, I'd refrain from grading these if you find one. Alrighty, next we go into football. Brock Purdy still dominating this list. We got 195 sales of his Panini Prism last week. 195 sales. And if you add up the Donruss and the Mosaic, we've got about 300 sales of Brock Purdy cards just last week. Pretty damn wild. Kenny Pickett, number 4. Isaiah Pacheco, another prominent rookie in the Prism 2022 release. As you've seen, so I told you guys that this was going to happen a few weeks back. And if you're subscribed to the channel and you watch regularly, you would have seen this coming. This trajectory, this is what we've been talking about. So the release date, it comes high as more and more of them start selling. As you see, 682 volume. Now you're down to 260 volume and the price is virtually cut in half, right? So we went from a $9 card to a $4 card. 9.5s, BGS 9.5s, it's not even worth it to grade. PSA 10, same thing. Honestly, I'd stay away from this unless you're buying it raw. And even then, I would probably wait a little bit. And just for argument's sake, I want to see the Brock Purdy as well. And as I said, Release date, always high. Give it some time, and it starts to come down, team. And you're going to see this trajectory with pretty much any release. So if you wait and you're patient and you pick your spots, you can acquire the cards you want just at much better prices than initially. You just got to get over that hump, that FOMO hump. All right, we are on hockey now, my favorite sport. We have Cole Caulfield, number 1, Matty Beniers, number 2. We've got the usual suspects right over here. We do, however, have a Dawson Mercer up here. So I'm going to go back real quick so we see the volume. 29 sales last week. I don't know why. This is a former rookie of the year. Perhaps there's some sort of comparables. I'm not sure. Some sort of speculative play. But Detroit is not making the playoffs this year. So it doesn't really make much sense to me why this card is one of the top selling cards. But that's okay. $30 for the ungraded copy, which is actually pretty good for a defenseman if you know hockey. This card ungraded at release was about $115. And again, we see this same trajectory. We're down to $30. And even when he won the Rookie of the Year, which if I had to estimate would probably be around, actually it might have been around this time. So that probably makes sense. That probably makes sense. PSA 10 copies are going for about $100. BGS 95s are going for about 90. I mean, you could be profitable by a little bit if you manage to gem this thing. Team, next we are into soccer. Kylian Mbappe black back Panini World Cup sticker is number 1 on this list, followed by Julian Alvarez. I love when we see different cards in this list. It means that collectors are getting creative. It means that things are happening. You know, I hate to see 2 or 3 weeks in a row of people just buying the same stuff. Kylian Mbappe black back. So a sticker dominates the soccer list, which if you follow me on my other channels, I've been talking about for quite some time. I have been collecting stickers for most of my life. And this is where soccer collecting comes from. This is where the soccer heritage comes from. This is where Panini comes from. Panini actually started creating stickers first and foremost. So it's nice to see stickers dominate, or tops of this list at least. The ungraded copy of this sticker back in January of 2022 was going for about $200. And then they slowly crept down. And now they're at about $11, $12. BGS 95 copies going for about $52. PSA 10 copies are going for about $60. Very interesting there. Not a ton of markup. UFC is next on our list. We've got Blaster Box top of this list again. You see with these individual sports that there's not a ton of volume. Also because I think that the UFC market is still very new. So you're going to see blaster boxes and hobby boxes and stuff like that tops of these lists. And usually when you see a run up on a specific fighter, it's because they either are about to fight or going to fight. So if you're looking for liquidity, usually if you center them around, you know, about to fight or just fought, that's when you'll get the most eyeballs on your cards. I can't even pronounce this name, and I'm not even going to pretend to, but his UFC Prism, the base card, is number 4 on this list. Rachmanov. We're going to go and say Rachmanov. And if I'm wrong, please let me know in the comment section. The ungraded copy is going for about $2, as you see. Early on, it's about a $4 card. It's tapered off a little bit. PSA 10 copies are going for about $42. BGS 95s are going for about $25. Finally, on this list, we've got wrestling. Blaster box, as I mentioned previously, when it comes to these individual players or fighters or whatever the case may be, sports, blaster boxes often, you'll see them first. Hulk Hogan is number 2. We've got, first of all, we've got Hulk Hogan 3 of the top 5. Obviously, guy's a legend, arguably the most legendary fighter in WWE history. Recently, we actually had some very interesting announcement that WWE was buying UFC, or vice versa. Damn it, I forgot. Regardless, they will be joining forces. So, you know, UFC has some pretty distinct marketing, and so does WWE. So watching how this unfolds with the collectibles market is going to be very interesting, and I will be paying attention to this for sure. Charlotte is number 3 on this list with their 2015 Topps Heritage WWE. So you see a reverse graph here where it used to be about $1. And then as attention starts to build and things start happening, all of a sudden this card ungraded is going for about $12. And it's pretty close to its all-time high back in February. No 9.5s, and a PSA 10 closed for $73, my friends. That is our wrap up for today of the hottest sports cards over the course of the last week. I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, please do not forget to like, subscribe, comment, share this with your friend. You're getting free information on a regular basis, not just from the data collecting tool, but also from me. I'm trying to provide as much insight as possible, give you guys as much value absolutely for free. Team, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Remember, let's have some fun with collecting. Coach Co and Sports Cards Pro are out of here.